Special edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. We got some great news on the Kansas City Chiefs that you're going to hear directly from Fox 4's Harold Kuntz, as Harold lays out why the vibes are really, really good for the Kansas City Chiefs right now with training camp beginning this week. We'll talk everything from Trey Smith to the offensive line situation. We'll talk contracts. We'll also go over the skill positions, everything you need to know when Harold joins us coming up in just a moment. Before we do, folks, want to make sure you're subscribed to the Kansas City Chiefs Report as we bring you daily Chiefs news and rumors, live shows each and every week. We also have breaking news, Q&A mailbags, and more. Your one-stop shop for all things Kansas City Chiefs. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/Chiefs TV. Let's get at least 20 subs off today's video. And without further ado, let's hear from Harold Kuntz. It has been way too long since we've talked to this guy. It is our old friend Harold Kuntz from Fox 4 in Kansas City, covers the Kansas City Chiefs and the entire Kansas City market, and he joins us right now. Harold, always a pleasure anytime we get the chance to chat, my friend. I've known you for so long now, but it still feels like yesterday. How we doing, man?
Oh, we're doing good, man. We're doing good. We're just getting ready for Chiefs training camp here, starting on Sunday technically, and then we'll be on our way. Next thing you know, we'll have a preseason game, and then we'll have the regular season opener in Brazil.
I know you're just excited to be spending all these days in St. Joe coming up the next few weeks.
Oh, come on. It's a blast. But I mean, honestly, like, you gain an appreciation for it because there's 26 out of the 32 teams in the NFL do it at their facility. But of course, of the 6 that don't, 4 still do it on a college campus. So Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, and I want to say Indianapolis is the other one. But Dallas and LA do theirs at resorts, basically. So that's what they like. I mean, it's old school organizations, the Chiefs, the Steelers, the Bills. The Bills take advantage of Rochester. The Chiefs take advantage of St. Joe, and the Pittsburgh's been going to St. Vincent forever. So it's just something that's a little magical about going to St. Joe. But now from a press standpoint, yeah, that's a little difficult. You're in a tent. It's hot. It's going to be Missouri mugginess in its best form. But they do get to focus on football. And there is camaraderie. And when you have a new team every year like the Chiefs, with a lot of rookies, a lot of young guys, a lot of people that need to know the standard of the Kansas City Chiefs, it's good for them to get developed. But I'm sure some of those big guys it's got to be tough for them in those dorms.
Yeah, you mentioned the dorms, and some of these other teams staying at these resorts or they're sleeping in their own beds. And we're talking about grown men, multimillionaires, staying in college dorms over the next couple of weeks. It's pretty bizarre.
Oh, yeah. I mean, all the guys, especially the big fellas, they're always discussing, well, you got to go to the sleep number. They've got to deal with them. You got to get the biggest bed you could possibly find. And obviously the veterans are going to get first dibs. And it's a whole thing. It's funny how, like, it's funny how it's a whole thing. And you'll have, like, Chris Jones doing some pranks on the rookies. And I think this time around they're going to try to go watch Happy Gilmore 2 as a team at a movie theater. I think Patrick Mahomes said that. He alluded to that. So it's a fun time. It's a collegiate atmosphere, but it is, at the end of the day, it's all about camaraderie and just, having those memories. But again, those veteran guys, I mean, if I were them, I'd be asking for, not even sleep number. I'd just bring in my own bed. I'd spruce up the entire place, get your significant others in there, get somebody helping you out as much as possible. It's got to be painful for some of those veteran guys.
Oh, no kidding. Harold, the big news this week, Trey Smith is much richer than you and I. He gets the most money ever for an offensive guard in terms of salary and guaranteed money, gets taken off the franchise tag. As a result, the Chiefs save about $9+ million against the cap, giving them about $20 million in cap space. Harold, it sounds like a lot of money. It is a lot of money. But I personally don't think that they overpaid. I think Trey Smith has proven his worth. And this was something that I felt like they had to do. I thought it was a smart decision on the part of Brett Veach. What do you think?
I think it's more along the lines of something they had to do. Brett Veach has alluded to it over and over again. You got to keep Patrick Mahomes upright, and there are a lot of times, not Super Bowl aside, there were a lot of times last season. Let's not forget during the beginning of the season when Kingsley Suamataia was starting at left tackle. They thought they had their left tackle in the future, and that lasted maybe less than a quarter of the season. And it was exposed very quickly by Trey Hendrickson. So it's a fine line. And the thing is, Creed and Trey are two guys that could be anchors for a long time. They felt comfortable getting rid of Joe Thuney for this reason alone, that they think that Kingsley at guard and Josh Simmons, if not Jaylon Moore, somebody there is the future at left tackle. And then you got Jawan Taylor at right tackle. So that's really what they have to get to. It's high level importance to them to protect Mahomes, because you don't know how good Xavier Worthy or Rashee Rice or Hollywood Brown could be if you don't know how these guys who protect them are. And that's been the biggest thing for this whole team throughout the tenure of Veach and Mahomes. We've seen it in the Super Bowl get exposed in the worst way possible. Need I remind you about Steven Wisniewski and a couple of those other guys when they had to play. So it's a lot going into the offensive line. It's so imperative they get it right, because right now there's still question marks. But in order to answer those question marks, you legitimately need guys to step up. So Josh Simmons is the guy I'm looking at. He might be the biggest guy we look at. But regarding Trey, it's well deserved. Let's first say it's well deserved. The 226th pick of the draft, 6th-round guy, had blood clots. Didn't know if he was going to be, able to play football, let alone live. And for him to get rewarded with this level of contract, absolutely deserved for the young man. And he's a Tennessee guy just like me, so I'm very happy to see that he's now the richest Tennessean that lives in Kansas City. And I joke around. I say that behind my wife. She was the second, but she's okay. The second. But no, it's really good to see good things happen to good people, and I'm very excited about Trey. Now, next year they're going to have some decisions. I know they're already starting. I've heard George Karlaftis, Trent McDuffie over and over as the guys that they're going to start trying to look at for people that potentially will need a contract and extend it. And they've got 9 of those guys of the 10 that were drafted in 2022 still on the team. So they've got a lot of restructuring to do, a lot of work to do, a lot of conversations to be had with who's going to be able to step up, who's going to stay on the team, who's not going to stay on the team. So a lot of work for Brett Veach to do. But you got to be excited for Trey at the very least. And I think everybody on the team is excited for him because he's such a nice, mature guy, humble guy. He'll knock you on your butt during the game, but at least for his sake, he's such a good dude. And you like to see good things happen to good people. But business is still business. The cap is still strict. Next year's going to be tough, but we've seen Brett Veach time and time again rework contracts, get things where they need to be. And he's not proven that he's not capable of making sure that everybody gets their money's worth. So we'll see him cook in next offseason. But for right now, just be happy for Trey because it's a big move for him. Resetting the market as guard. He's had all the talent in the world in high school and college at UT. So, he totally deserves this contract. I mean, I could be prouder of him, but, business is business still.
Yeah, hasn't allowed a single sack his entire career. Only got called for 1 penalty last year. He has been tremendous. And you mentioned the blood clot thing. That's why he fell to 6th round and has not missed a game. Has not been an issue injury-wise at all whatsoever. He's been extremely dependable for Kansas City here on that front. You mentioned Brett Veach and the job that he did to navigate this offseason. Might I remind folks that the Kansas City Chiefs entered this offseason with about $4 million in cap space. And when we were talking to Brett Veach at the Super Bowl, the thing that he was saying, Harold, was, yeah, we're not going to have much for free agency. We viewed the draft as kind of our version of free agency.
Yeah.
And everybody assumed they were going to lose some guys, that Trey Smith was likely out the door. Was Nick Bolton going to be back or not? They did end up losing Justin Reid, and they traded Joe Thuney, but I think those were more manageable situations to go through. But here we are now, fast forward to almost, end of July, and Harold, we're talking about this Chiefs team having $20 million in cap space and Nick Bolton and Trey Smith on long-term deals. Just an amazing job. Not to mention they had a great draft too.
Yeah, and I mean they're still under the cap right now, so they still got a little wiggle room there. I mean, again, we're not going to question Brett Veach on the job he does. We all know he does a good job. He's proven it time and time again. He's got his numbers crunchers there. I mean, he's doing so good. He's losing numbers crunchers now to other teams, but he still somehow manages a way to massage the cap, get it to where they like it as a team, where they can work it out. So, again, if you're a Chiefs fan, you got to have all the confidence in the world in Brett Veach that he's doing the right thing, he's making the right moves. Will it get dicey sometimes? And like who knows what will happen when it comes to how he can make it work next season? That's going to be a key. But for right now, I think they're in good shape. But it really, you're not wrong about the rookies and how they're going to perform as basically free agents. I mean, let's look at Josh Simmons. I think that's the biggest key free agent acquisition, even more so than Jaylon Moore because he's a future. And then you look at guys like Omar Norman Lott and Ashton Gelati, those guys at the defensive line. George Karlaftis is there. Chris Jones is there. They're rock solid. But you look at all these other guys like Mike Pennell, that might be he's at the back end of his career. You got a couple other guys. I mean, there's a few guys there. They needed to shore up the defensive line. Steve Spagnuolo wanted Nick Bolton, so they had to make a choice: Nick Bolton or Justin Reid, and it was Nick Bolton because Steve Spagnuolo needs his green dot, so that knows the defense and could be a guy on the field, the field general, if you will, defensive side of the ball. So the free agency is going to be huge, and but the draft picks as free agents are going to be huge. And again, I allude back to they got 9 out of the 10 draft picks still there. I mean, Isiah Pacheco's in a big year for him to prove it. You got guys in the back end like Jalen Watson, Najee Johnson. I mean, these are guys in the back end that it's time for them to prove it. So, yeah, it's going to be huge. It's really going to be huge to see what they do, and I'm fascinated to see what they do. But they've got to perform. I mean, at the end of the day, the guys that they're drafting have to perform to make this team function the way they want it to function.
Yeah, and we haven't even talked about some of the later round draft picks that I think could be a good impact. I really like Jeffrey Bassa from Oregon, the linebacker. Rashee Smith, obviously, at the running back position, and he's got good receiving ability as a former wideout himself. So, yeah, there's a lot of potential to get something here. With that said, so now you've taken care of Trey Smith, and this dragged on for a while, but we finally do reach a conclusion to this story. And now the attention turns to Trent McDuffie and George Karlaftis. And you look at the corner market of the same corners that were drafted in the same draft as Trent McDuffie, those guys are already getting paid. Sauce Gardner earlier this week, Derek Stingley a few weeks back. Do you think that pushes things for McDuffie, maybe where he jumps in line ahead of Karlaftis on getting the deal done? Do you think that has any effect? Who do you believe probably got paid first?
Yeah, I think you mentioned with Derek Stingley and Sauce Gardner especially, considering that's kind of the same role they're playing. Yeah, and that moves some things. But historically, what have we seen for the Chiefs? McDuffie's like an anomaly because he was a cornerback that was picked in the first round. A lot of those guys are usually look at L'Jarius Sneed. He was a late round pick. Yep. He wanted to get paid. You're seeing some of these late round picks like Jalen Watson, Najee Johnson. They've started at one point or another. So they've drafted other guys before. They've always drafted late round corners because they've had good success with it. He's the anomaly. That's the first round pick. So do you want to build your defense around him? I mean, a lot of people would say they wanted to build around L'Jarius Sneed. He's a shutdown guy. Now he's been injured, so they're kind of vindicated with it, and they got a draft pick out of it. But it goes on what you want to value. Do you want to value cornerback in the NFL, or do you want to value defensive line in the NFL, especially edge? Edge is a premier position. And George Karlaftis, he has to have a big year in order to prove to them that, hey, we're ready to go and make you a guy that we see long-term in. I don't think this is a decision, really. I just think this is, again, when you go look at the draft class and nine were drafted, if Trent and George are the top 2, well, if they're going to be the top 2, then you got to roll with it because the other guys below them, like Sky Moore and all those, they've proven to be expendable, unfortunately, on the field for those guys. I mean, they want Trent and George to be backbones of the defense. You got to do it. So it's going to be an interesting call with them. I do think they got to go with Trent first. I mean, logically, they got to go with Trent first just because the quarterback market has been reset. But for right now, they're on the 5-year option, and we'll see how this plays out. I mean, I'm curious to see how it plays out because I don't think they need to prove anything. Maybe George does more than Trent, but it's going to be interesting how it plays out for sure.
Yeah. We mentioned the offensive line situation, and they spent that money on Jaylon Moore to bring him over from the Niners. He's got experience at guard and tackle. They're telling us that he's a tackle, but that Josh Simmons is the front runner to earn that left tackle spot. And I see Kingsley at the left guard spot, and it sounds like things are going pretty well in the offseason program, but we heard the same thing last year, too. It makes me think, Harold, is there a possibility where we could see some shifting around maybe in training camp in the preseason? Could Jaylon Moore, if he doesn't get the left tackle job, maybe get moved to left guard? Or does he have an outside chance of competing with Juwan Taylor for the right tackle spot? What do you think of this offensive line situation?
Yeah, Andy Heck's got a good problem. He's got a good problem in the sense that he's got a lot of people and he can be versatile with a lot of things.
Yep.
It's a matter of what he wants to do with them. I mean, Juwan Taylor, I know he's been getting up there. He's not completely ailing right now, but he's had some knee problems in the past. So we'll see how that works out. And then, the left tackle position is so key with the edge rushers. And especially since every team you play, especially with the division, has loaded up on edge rushers because they play the Kansas City Chiefs. So that's a high level of importance. They have to get that position right. They cannot go this many years after the Mitchell Schwartz, Eric Fisher with not good tackles. They can't go that many years. And right now they have. So that's why they went out with Josh Simmons. I mean, they tested that guy 3 times. They interviewed other Ohio State people just to basically talk to them about Josh Simmons. That's how much they were like, we're dead set on this guy. If he's healthy, he's our guy. We had a great grade on him. He's athletic. He's built. Everybody said positive things about him. I mean, players, coaches, everybody said positive things about him. Andy Reid says he's been stepping up. Now, is it all talk? We don't know. We will never know until he gets live bullets in a game. But until then, you have to think that if he's your future and Jaylon Moore is basically your insurance, because the way the contract read out with Jaylon Moore, you could tell it was like, all right, well, if you're the starter, we'll pay you this. But right now, you're getting this with a lot of bonuses. So that means to tell me they're not quite certain. They just know he played good as a backup under Trent Williams. So now it's your turn to step up. So that's huge. Kingsley Suamataia and Mike Caliendo is going to be a battle to watch, obviously at left guard. We'll see how that works out. But, I mean, both of these guys, they're in a situation now where they've got a lot of room to basically say, hey, this is you. We spent this much money on Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith. We're not spending money on and we've got enough money laid in on Juwan Taylor. We're not spending money on your side. You got to go prove it. And if not, decisions will be made. So that's where it looks like. That's what it looks like. I mean, if we see a DJ Humphries type player being picked up in the middle of the season that has to be thrown into there because it's so bad and he only lasted 3 quarters basically.
Yep.
Then we know there's a problem. Because we knew there was a problem there when they threw in DJ Humphries and he just got there and they said, all right, you're starting because we're desperate. So, and then he couldn't make it. And then the whole thing with the whack. Now, credit Joe Thuney being an all-pro and potential future Hall of Famer for stepping in there. But it's going to be tough. They can't do this. The way they're going to operate, one of these guys got to step up. And that's why I think watching him, Josh Simmons, Jaylon Moore, Kingsley Suamataia, Mike Caliendo, you got to watch these guys during camp because that's really going to determine how far this offense goes.
Yeah. We're talking to Harold Kuntz of Fox 4 here on the program this week. Harold, Travis Kelce, a lot of talk about this being the last hurrah for him, potential retirement on the way, and he's done a lot of work this offseason, trying to bounce back after not having the last 2 seasons necessarily to his standard. He wasn't bad, but he wasn't his old Travis Kelce. What version of Travis Kelce do you think we'll get in 2025?
I think you get the version that says, tell me when the playoffs are, and until then, you're going to get a good Noah Gray version.
Yeah.
And you're going to get a couple other tight ends. I mean, there's a reason why they brought in so many tight ends. I mean, they've got UDFAs. They got 2 UDFAs at tight ends right now. There's a reason why they got all of them in. And we don't even know about Jarrett Wiley, who's the kid they drafted 2 years ago. The reason why they got all those tight ends is because they know Travis is saving for the postseason. And he's made it abundantly clear that his goal is to make sure that come postseason, he's ready to go. He's made that abundantly clear. I think the one time he talked to us in media, and even when you listen to his New Heights podcast, you can tell, like, there's one reason he's back, and that's to win a Super Bowl. So when you need Hall of Fame Travis Kelce, Hall of Fame Travis Kelce will be there. Yep. When you do not need Hall of Fame Travis Kelce, then you're going to see Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy. The long ball is going to be back offensively. That's how they're going to operate. And then you're going to see a lot of running backs coming out of the backfield. Or maybe with Reid and Trey locked in, you can get the power run game going as long as they stay healthy. That's what you're going to see. Travis Kelce is going to sit back, observe, and play the guy that's like, hey, I'm here. My services are near. Right now, from weeks 1 to week 8, 9, 10, I'm here for leadership. I'm here to make sure everybody's on point. Everybody knows the standard. And when I am needed, I'm needed. But when you tell me I need to be Hall of Fame level Travis Kelce, I will be there, God willing, as long as I'm healthy and good enough to go. That's where Travis Kelce needs to be. And quite frankly, he deserves that. He deserves to have that position on the team.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. And I think that's exactly what we'll see. You're spot on with that, Harold. You mentioned the skill positions, and you get Rashee Rice back healthy. I've said for a while he looked like a top 10 receiver last year prior to the injury. Xavier Worthy had a nice second half of the season. You got a healthy Hollywood Brown now and Juju. You bring in Jalen Royals. And then, of course, Isiah Pacheco is now months removed from that injury where he didn't quite look the same. He put on some weight. I'm looking at the skill positions, Harold. If everything goes according to plan, if these guys can stay healthy, this to me feels like maybe the best skill position group Mahomes has had since he's been in KC.
Certainly has the potential to be. I mean, I really like what I saw from Xavier Worthy. I mean, we all saw the Super Bowl result, but the second half, when they forced the ball down to Xavier Worthy, and I know the Eagles were probably playing backups, they thought the game was over, but that was the game plan all along. If you watch the tape of that game, you could tell there was a few times they were trying to go deep. Xavier Worthy and a couple others. So, and Rashee was on an exceptional trajectory before, of course, the injury in LA. So that really altered the wide receiving force. So if they stay healthy, and we forget that Hollywood Brown was not even a significant factor until week 14, week 15. He wasn't a significant factor until the Saturday game we were watching the college football playoffs. So they really don't know what they have yet in 1 and 4 and 5. But I think this time around, they're going to really learn what they have, because if they can stay healthy, and the key word is if they can stay healthy, and then obviously that'll allow somebody like Jalen Royals to come along. That'll allow a rookie like Rashee Smith to come along. Juju Smith-Schuster is there just to be the unk, basically, of the receiving board. That's your 5 receivers right there. I mean, they got 5, and there's another spot for 6 that I'm sure Dave Tote will probably be the one that determines that, the special teams coordinator. So they really are, people are underestimating how much of a turning core that they do have. And I don't think people quite realize the emergence of Rashee Rice was forgotten about. And the emergence of Xavier Worthy was forgotten about because it was the Super Bowl and the results, the scoreline. And people forgot that Hollywood Brown, he wants to be there and provide a little bit of an engine in the veteran presence. So I would say that from a health position and from a talent position and from a speed position, this is the best receiving core that Mahomes has had. From a speed and talent perspective. Now, you can argue that they've had some great receiving cores in the past. Obviously, when you had prime Sammy Watkins, that was one thing. Obviously, Tyreek Hill is another thing. But I don't think they had 3 guys that matched speed level like they did with, when they had Tyreek Hill and a couple other guys. I mean, they wanted to do this. They've wanted to do this forever. I just think now they have the health. And if they stay healthy, this is going to be a new look offense. This is going to be an offense that they're going to try to mirror the 2018, 2019 offense. They're going to try to mirror that. This is not going to be the team that relies on the defense. They're going to try to mirror the offensive scheme. And then if they can mirror that with a decent defense, then they've got something. They've hit jackpot. But for right now, that is a really talented and speedy group. And, I mean, Xavier Worthy, you've got the fastest guy that ran the 40-yard combine. And then you match them up with some others. If they can even get to 3/4 the level that a Tyreek Hill was, I mean, you've got something. And I think Rashee Rice has the size, and he's going to be around. The whole civil trial, the criminal trials, that may not be until 2026, so that could be determined next season. But for now, it looks like he's going to be around. I think there's a lot of talent going on there.